You know, part of the fun that I have with the idea of religion is pulling it outside of its box and making it relevant, to my day-to-day life and to the way I experience being. And to bring it back into what I would consider my real experience. And of course, there's big quotes around that as a Vedantin. But to use it to, improve life, to answer inner questions, inner understandings. I've noticed that in Western religion growing up, that it starts very much with an idea of a God independent and separate from the creation, who we are in relationship with, and religion is about fixing that relationship, making that relationship right. Of course, that started too far down the road for me, and maybe for many, I don't know. I reserve a lot of my opinions on that. But in my introductions to Eastern thought, it was much more interested in who I am. Who are you? What are you? We have easy answers for that. Oh, I'm a human being. What does that mean? That's not self-defined. That's something. But what are its characteristics? And the reason that that's such an important question is that we live in a relative world where nothing inherently has its own value until it's compared to something else, right? Something isn't big unless something else is small. Something's not 1 mile away until you know where you are from where you're measuring. And with the question, who are you? That determines how the rest of this relative world unfolds in relation to that idea of what you are. For instance, Sri Ramakrishna says that lust and greed, woman and gold is one of his translations, is what makes this whole world go round. And you think about that. Well, if I identify as a body, that brings all of that into play. If I'm a man, and that brings that into play. So at least half of the world becomes women. If I'm a body, then that takes into account the biology and the lusts and the hungers and cravings that it has. And suddenly I'm defining a whole world, because then it becomes important whether a person is male or female, whether I'm straight or gay, how old I am, how good looking I am, or you are, or they are, what age group are they in, what hair color do they have, what is their weight situation, how in shape or out of shape are they, how disciplined are they. All these things become important when I define myself as a body and a gender with preferences and hungers and cravings and ideas. And those are fine, but with a lifetime almost of experience behind me, I found that defining myself that way and pursuing those cravings and hungers was a loop. You never got out of it. You never had enough. You never got to move beyond where you were at. Your tastes and ideas just became more and more specific and more difficult to actually find, to actually have anything fulfilling in that. So that's why the sages have gone inward to escape that loop. And so the question remains, who are you? And go inside to find out who you are. Ask that question of yourself, and in silence, let that question reverberate within, in that inner space, and see what comes to light. How do you define yourself? Your body has not been the same for your entire life. As a matter of fact, if you're as old as I am, your body's completely different from when you were 5 or 10 or 15. So if my body is completely different, how do I remain me? How do I remain the same? Now, these are old questions, but they're ones that you use to kind of follow the rope deep inside, to find what the sages find, to find that which is not dependent on a body and mind, that which is inherently unbounded and free, that which is not dependent on anything. It's a good meditation to sit in a room and quietly try and think of something that you know that's not dependent on something else that you know. Because anything that you know that's dependent on another is changeable and thereby not really dependable. So who are you? Begin your quest and call that religion. Call that spirituality. and let it unfold, not as a set of rules or instructions or practices, but as an adventure of investigations.